My name is Noah Civiello. I'm a member of FRC team number 6153 and have been throughout all 4 years of high school. During my time on the team, I've held many different leadership positions. I've learned a great deal about robotics construction and function in my time on the team. This robot is a culmination of the lessons learned from the past 3 robots, as well as some exciting new innovations that I would like to share with you today. Now that you know a little bit about me, I would personally like to introduce our 2025 robot, Guillotine. Thanks to the fact that last year's robot did not have a climber until our second official event, and the fact that it was not an overly elegant solution to the climbing problem in the end, we knew that we needed to design the climber into a robot early on in the season. And so because of that, we designed the elevator for the robot to be offset from the center by 7 inches. And in those 7 inches, we'd place these 2 forks, which attach to the first stage of the elevator. And these forks would insert themselves into the cage bars and would push down on the bottom of the cage. And we mounted the elevator 1 inch under the drive base, which allowed us to push down the elevator, lifting ourselves off the ground and giving us enough space to be off the ground. The solution did present us with some pretty unique challenges, including the fact that we did not have a belly pan, so we had to find some interesting places to mount our electronics. But it allowed us to use the power of the elevator rather than a separate mechanism to lift the robot off the ground. In order to prevent ourselves from falling to the ground in the last 20 seconds of the match when we climb, we installed a ratchet gear to the shaft that goes through the elevator gearbox. This ratchet is engaged using a linear actuator, which is attached to a ratchet foot, which sits right next to it. Originally, the manipulator was the same style for algae, which is 2 rollers moving in opposite directions to suck the algae in between it. But for the coral, we used a passive coral manipulator, which is mounted on top of the algae manipulator. Eventually, we decided to change it because it both interfered with the chain for the elevator, and it also didn't allow us to control when we let go of the coral when scoring it on the coral reef. So instead, we found that we could move the back panel of the game piece manipulator forward slightly, which allowed us to intake coral through the front rather than on top. This both was a much more compact solution, and it allowed us to control when we extake the coral when scoring it on the coral reef. Our team does a great many things to inform community members of what we do. In addition to having an active social media presence on all of our platforms, we hold multiple outreach events, including 2 free STEM nights, one which we hosted at our local plane museum, and the other which we hosted at our local elementary school. We also have a root beer float stand, which we have taken to 8 different festivals this year. These events double as both a fundraiser for us, as well as an outreach event, as we can show off our robots during these events. We've also hosted an off-season competition called Mainly Spirit last year, and this year we hosted the FL State Championship, which allowed community members to come and see what a first competition looks like. I hope you enjoyed this glimpse into the design process for this year's robot. I'll see you at the competition.